our B&B solution, we focus on what's best for certain patients. Our primary objective is encouraging a speedy recovery to get patients back to what's most important to them. Working alongside an occupational therapist and an electrical engineer to best address the needs of the market.
Hundreds of traumatic flexor tendon maceration injuries are surgically eradicated and occur a year. Each one costs approximately $21,000 in medical expenses and in lost productivity because of current treatment plans. The research group has estimated that active mobilization such as the Splint X will reduce the cost by 25%.
Splint X is a rehabilitation device to be used alongside conventional splint methods. It allows patients to move their hand and forearm through the entire range of motion without putting excessive stress within the flexor tendons. LEDs and a vibration motor within the wristband correspond to a tendon rupture value percentage, which is set by the clinician and corresponds to an amount of tendon stress.
So two FlexiForce sensors measure the applied force on the forearm muscle. This is processed by an Arduino, and the output is displayed as an output of tendon rupture percentage.
This information is also available in an Android-enabled app.
So the tendon rupture percentage corresponds to a stress, which is determined by the clinician, and this is per patient basis and also can be adjusted as the patient progresses through rehabilitation.
B&B Solutions is dedicated to continual innovation in the rehabilitation technology field.
In the food industry and beverage industry, nothing's more important than being able to ensure product quality, to maintain sales, and protect consumers. To achieve this, there are advanced laboratory methods and expensive technologies currently used. However, we believe there is a market for low-cost warning systems to complement these methods and add an extra layer of protection.
So to this end, we have designed an adaptable platform that utilizes optical absorbances to wirelessly and automatically monitor quality markers in our media. We plan to identify different markers in different products throughout the food and beverage industry, and then design specific systems targeted for those products.
So to demonstrate the functionality of our concept, we've decided to use market use. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's highly prone to variation, and because of that requires excellent quality control. So our proof of concept is made using simple components like an Arduino Uno, XP radio, and MATLAB software. With our proof of concept, we've been able to detect the presence of oxidation products and changes in carotenoid content, both of which are vital quality markers. Overall, we believe we designed a system that would be appreciated on production lines throughout the industry.
Technologies, and we're seek to offer a multi-metric device that measures biomechanical aspects of health in the physiotherapy setting.
So physiotherapy is globally a $14 billion industry currently, and by 2019 it's expected to reach $19 billion. So our device is to provide physiotherapists with a tool that will help them assess their patients and provide better care than they would do without a device.
Our device also comes with a software which maps the bar's motion in 3D space, and it puts out information for both the physiotherapist and the regular user.
Our device is an accelerated wound healing device, and wound management is a critical concern for diabetic patients, patients with amputations, and also trauma patients. Our device is used to increase the heat at the wound area and thus bringing more blood flow, increased immune system healing factors, and also alleviating pain by heating from the heat receptors and heat receptors becoming important receptors in the brain, so heating up the area decrease the amount of heat that the patient feels. That is a society that we hope to achieve with this product is decreasing the reliance on medications and inhalers such as cocaine and morphine, which contributes to constant addiction.
So our device consists of two sensors, an oxygen sensor, a temperature sensor. We also have a heating element, and we have the circuit board that controls everything, as well as an LCD output, just for personal display. This measures the temperature at the site of the wound. We're hoping to achieve about 40 degrees Celsius. We're using a transistor gate to control the the actual heat element itself by modulating a square wave. And we also have the oxygen sensor, which based on the wavelength of the light absorbed, it tells you roughly how much oxygen is found in the blood. And all of it gets output to an LCD screen, which shows you what your temperature is at and what the oxygen content is at the one side is at.
Our generation is facing a significant climate change causing increasing concern. So with rising UV levels and temperatures, the possibility of developing a heat-related illness such as heat stroke or sunburn is becoming a pressing issue. So especially for children because they are more susceptible to developing these heat-related issues. So SunSafe Solutions has created a device that will alleviate the worries of the caretaker as well as provide protection for the child from the heat and sun. The solar trap has a sun pad that connects via Bluetooth to a smartphone for real-time monitoring of the UV and body temperature levels. When the body temperature reaches 39 degrees Celsius, the point at which heat exhaustion becomes a possibility, a caution message is displayed on the user's smartphone. When the body temperature reaches 40 degrees Celsius, an alert message is sent as at 40.5 degrees is possible to use. The app will also display the UV index whenever there is a change in UV intensity. And based on the UV index, specific sun safety tips recommended by the World Health Organization will also be displayed on the user's smartphone.
The solar trap app will be marketed toward caretakers who are responsible for a large number of children at a time, such as sports coaches, daycare leaders, that type of thing. So our design is different from other designs because it has the ability to measure and simultaneously, while other designs don't measure both the body temperature and the UV index at the same time. So based on that, we are proud to present to you the solar trap app.
By SunSafe Solutions is real-time monitoring of the body temperature and the UV index. The temperature sensor is located on the inside right here, and the UV sensor is located on the top here. When the body temperature reaches 39 degrees Celsius, which is at the point that heat exhaustion becomes a possibility, the caution message will be sent to the user on the smartphone.
So right now it's measured, because for demonstration purposes, the caution message will appear at 23 degrees Celsius. So you can see on the smartphone here's a caution message that occurs.
The alert message occurs at 25 degrees Celsius for the prototype, and the real product will occur at 40 degrees Celsius, as at 40.5 degrees Celsius, the user is at risk of heat stroke.
So you can show one more time.
The heat exhaustion.
So this is increasing the temperature further, which right now there's only caution messages appearing, but now you can see there's an alert message appearing, and that's once it reaches the threshold of heat stroke occurring.
In terms of the UV sensor, the UV index is recorded on the smartphone anytime there's a change in the UV intensity. So right now, there's a UV index of 0, so there's nothing being displayed. When placed under the light, the intensity changes, and on the smartphone, you can see the increase of the UV index is increasing.
So see there's a UV index reading on the screen, and this gives you sun safety tips and precautionary measures to take depending on the UV index at the time.
The UV index will only be displayed anytime there's a change in UV intensity, whereas the temperature alerts are continuously displayed until the temperature decreases back into the safe zone and safety precautions are taken.
Method to detect oral health before you go to dental office is often too late for anyone to go to the dentist because you only go to the dentist because you taste first and it's too late. So it will be used for post-surgery recovery. So maybe there's signs of inflammation or signs of decay. You can use the toothbrush to give you a warning, and then you have to know it's time to go to the dentist.
So we put a pressure sensor to detect if you're brushing too hard, it'll light up. We put an iron sensor to detect cavities, and a temperature sensor to detect for inflammation and fever if you get an infection after surgery.
Yeah, and that's of course we put an iron sensor so you can detect tooth decay, tooth cavities. So overall, this toothbrush has been designed in a way that is family-friendly, user-friendly. Can be installed everywhere, and people can use it and check it out.
So 58% of on-duty firefighter deaths are associated with sudden cardiac arrest. The cost associated with prevention of injuries is $2.8 to $7.8 million per year in the United States alone. There are
Guardian Technologies was founded in 2015, and we focus on the latest technologies to help save the lives of firefighters. We are biological signal experts and have developed VMAT, which is a vitals monitor and tracker device. It is a wearable microcontroller, which is located under the PPE of fire equipment and processes skin and heart rate into a physiological strain index. Physiological strain index is then wirelessly transmitted to a command center on the fire truck.
A PSI value is calculated through heart rate and skin temperature and is normalized to each wearer so the value is always between 1 and 10. Research has shown that having a PSI index of over 7.5 for a long period of time increases your risk of sudden cardiac arrest. The VMAP displays this data in a color-coordinated scale, green, yellow, and red, showing an increasing range of risk of cardiac arrest. This allows the fire chief to recognize the danger and remove the fireman from the scene before cardiac arrest occurs.
VMAP will be sold to equipment distributors for a market value of $150 US. This will include all the software and training required for operation.
Now that we have a fully functional prototype, Guardian Technologies is looking to make the device more compact. The ideal evolution of this device would have the sensors printed directly onto fabric sensors, which would allow a complete range of motion for the wearer.
We'll show you a short demo of how our product does work. So, on the screen here right now, all we have is the PSI and a value. This is something that would be changed in the future into something more like the screen over there, which would be the color-coded system showing a red, yellow, green system based on the PSI value. So our heart rate signal, which we have attached here, is attached to leads on my chest, which is measuring the EKG, which we have then converted into heartbeat by having a moving at running average threshold.
The leading cause of injury-related hospitalization is falling. The number of deaths from falling has increased 65% since 2003. The main consequences that occur from falling are broken bones, mainly hip fractures, head injuries, and negative mental health effects. Here at Moccasis, we aim to reduce the number of balance-related falls and increase safe locomotion for geriatric patients and others with balance-related issues.
Our device consists of 8 FlexiForce sensors, inverting operational amplifiers, as well as 1 kilo-ohm resistors. From there, it's processed into an ITE Arduino Uno, and then incorporated using a Bluetooth module. From there, upon purchase of the device, you're going to be using a dynamic calibration to detect your normal gait cycle. This will be individual for each person who buys it. From there, we'll be able to detect your normal range and see if during your walking you deviate out of this normal range. And if you do, a vibration will be sent to your wristband, notifying you to correct your positions.
So our target market is people over the age of 65 who experience the greatest number of falls and are a higher risk of having a stroke. Our aim is to sell and advertise through home care, health providers, and distributors, and sell for approximately $160. Our system takes into account falls that occur as a deficit of both the somatosensory and the vestibular systems. Our system is also very lightweight and non-invasive and won't have any negative impact on the patient's ability to function. We at Moccasis prevent falls before they happen.
Did you know that most apples in Ontario are cut to controlled atmosphere storage facilities, and yet we still see up to 30% of apple spoilage before they even reach our homes? This is where Spoil Alert introduces the bad apple.
So as apples spoil and ripen, they release ethylene gas and CO2. In controlled atmosphere storage, to suppress this process, they lower temperature and control humidity values.
So to monitor these parameters, the bad apple is composed of 4 sensors. We have our carbon dioxide sensor, an ethylene sensor, and a combined relative humidity and temperature sensor. Now all of these are communicated through an Arduino and Bluetooth to a phone application. So if we wanted to check on the values of the sensor at any point and integrate this into a logging mechanism in a farm facility or in a controlled atmosphere facility, we can just send L for list into the Bluetooth and receive all the values at that precise time.
So ideally what we're looking is to switch your Bluetooth platform back to a wireless platform so that you'll be able to change those conditions. Different apples require different conditions, so therefore this would be really important to implement to our device. As well, we also want to introduce push notifications because that really increases
consumer usability of our devices. Learners do tend to be a little bit traditional in their mindset, and so by tackling this, it increases the likelihood of the usage.
So currently the prototype costs $175. We hope to reduce the price through mass production to $90 and sell for a profit of $170. We think that this will be good for initial sales, and once we make enough, we will upgrade the sensor and try to sell it for $1,000, create a bit of overhead room to advance the company.
Okay, so now we're going to show you a little bit more about the thresholds that our sensors are able to detect. So right now they are all operating, and for demonstration purposes we have our threshold set to around room temperature conditions. But if we blow on the CO2 sensor, we're going to receive a notification that says that the CO2 is too high, and we're going to receive the value in parts per million. We can also do a similar demonstration with the temperature and humidity sensor and increase the temperature and humidity, and we should receive notifications noting the temperature in Celsius and the humidity in relative humidity. We're also able to detect ethylene, and so when the ethylene gas would be produced, we would receive notifications about the ethylene being too high and the notification again in parts per million. So that's how it works in terms of the thresholds. The application that Kayla just mentioned would also allow the user to set their own personalized thresholds, again, because all apples have different thresholds that they need to be set for. So certain species have higher ethylene levels or lower ethylene levels that indicate their staging, their ripening process. So, isn't that something that you can bite into?
If you've ever woken up and found yourself not in your own bed and somewhere else that you weren't expecting, the chances are you probably experienced sleepwalking. Sleepwalking is actually fairly common, contrary to what a lot of people believe. Approximately 8.6 million people experience at least one episode a year. But the biggest concern is that this is especially prominent in children ages 3 to 7. This is a huge concern for parents, especially who don't want their children to put themselves in potentially unsafe situations by wandering around at night. So for those parents, we offer them this solution.
It's a quick rundown of our device. What happens is it's a prop that detects the image and turns on the LED. The second LED and the speaker is turned on. This now causes the signal to be sent to the booster module, and my colleague will talk about the booster module.
So the Bluetooth module actually sends a signal to an app, and this app can be used on any sort of phone, caregiver's phone. And basically the app works is that they just choose the Bluetooth device, and then they can choose to play a sound or vibrate the device. And then once they press enter, and the alarm goes off, the Bluetooth will actually start to synchronize.
So in conclusion, this device basically detects the crosswalk event, and it sends a signal to the caregiver, allowing us to detect this.
Do you know how many first responders in the U.S. are injured every year?
Nope.
Well, about 88,000 first responders get injured in the U.S. each year. First responders risk their lives to protect us, but who protects them? Here at Dynamic Duo Inc., we are dedicated to develop solutions to protect those that protect us.
Now onto the device. Introducing the Medic Monitor. The Medic Monitor monitors the individual's heart rate and temperature using an infrared temperature sensor that we mounted in the air. The Medic Monitor then sends this information over to a display, a wireless display, to the people inside the event who are best equipped to make a judgment call on potential rescue. The Medic Monitor will relieve the commanding officer of being consumed by the vitals of his team, and instead he can focus on the disaster at hand. Over here we also have a display that could be outputted for the commanding officer that would show the individual's heart rate and the graph.
Every year in Canada, 50,000 people suffer from stroke, and this number continues to grow due to population. Of this group, around 80% will suffer some form of upper limb impairment, and the most debilitating form of this impairment is a loss of mobility. Fortunately, though, it has been proven that disability can be treated through extensive rehabilitation exercises.
Current devices that address this issue include complicated clinical machines for very extensive manual rehabilitation procedures. The development of an affordable and mobile device will help thousands of Canadians who suffer from stroke improve their hand dexterity and regain their independence. The Healing Hand is just this. Designed for in-home use, the Healing Hand is an affordable device which guides the user through a series of rehabilitation exercises.
sensors, an accelerometer, and EMG detector set in order to detect the exercises that the user is performing. Based on feedback from the sensors, the user's progress can be monitored and tracked. The best part about the healing hand is that it costs only $250, and this is only a fraction of the price of what other competitors are offering.
With the continually growing market demand, advanced technology, and competitive price, the healing hand is guaranteed to be a hit.
I'm Josh, this is Hans, and we designed a working prototype to wirelessly monitor the activity and location of elderly patients using radio frequency identification-based accelerometers. Fall injuries account for approximately $34 billion per year in the US alone, while dementia-related expenses and lost earnings cost Canada about $33 billion per year. Our objectives for the design were to make a prototype that would wirelessly measure the movement of a user using accelerometers while incorporating RFID technology to provide an efficient method for monitoring the location of the user while utilizing a compact and cost-effective design. Now Hans will do a quick demo.
So as mentioned, there are two main components to it, an RFID reader and an accelerometer. So the accelerometer would measure the acceleration and provide the acceleration data in the LabVIEW interface that we see here and the raw data. And so depending on what the person's doing, if he's like standing still, it updates a timestamp on the LabVIEW interface that he's standing still, or if he's like lying down, he would like be positioned somewhere like that. And if the person decides to try to, let's say, go to the door, the RFID reader would be the RFID tag that you would place near the door, and you would know that, oh, he's trying to get out of the house, or if they're trying to like go near the bed rail and trying to get up from bed, then they'd know that, oh, okay, he's trying to get up from bed, and then you could send someone to help them if they're not supposed to be getting up, or if they're trying to get out of the house, you can send someone before they get out of the house to stop them and prevent them from getting lost.
We're Talk XBR, I'm Nick, this is Bo, and this is Ivan, and we decided to tackle the issue of foodborne pathogens by developing an inline detection system for Staphylococcus aureus using the novel SPR technology.
Surface plasmons are resonant electrons at the surface of a metal and the dielectric medium. So what we had to do is get the wave vector of the photons to excite those surface electrons. And in order to do that, we need a little bit of Snell's law with the refractive medium to bend the wave vectors into place. The way we achieve this is by shining 650 nanometers of light through a Brewster lens that plane polarizes the light to the incident of the prism. Prism is a BK7 prism. Once the light hits in there, it's at an angle greater than total internal reflection. It goes out and hits a linear photodiode array of 256 pixels, and it outputs something like this. How this works is when I touch the gold that's on the back of the prism, there is a shift, a corresponding shift, and that shift corresponds to the change in dielectric medium. How we would test for biomolecules is the gold would be lined with a dextran ligand, where biomolecules, when they cause a binding, would change the dielectric medium in a similar fashion to what you just saw with my finger. Not as intense, but still detectable. And our marketing.
Although the use of SPR technologies are relatively novel, there are approximately 15 companies that comprise roughly 90% of today's market. Most commercial SPR vendors have their products ranging from tens of thousands of dollars to upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars. SPR technology transitioning into other industries is often constrained and impractical because of its enormous initial capital cost. Talk SPR aims to provide a marketing advantage by providing a system that's both cheap, portable, and reliable. More importantly, simple to use so that SPR technology can be used for S aerials pathogen detection.
Was more by medical engineering company. So our intent is to design a roadside intoxicant detector for the analyzation of 3 known drug compounds, specifically marijuana, alcohol, and cocaine metabolites. We see this as a necessary device based on a recent 4-year study which indicated that there have been approximately 800 incidents due to improper timing.
Existing solutions are often missing speed of processing, portability, and cost effectiveness. Our device targets these three areas by remaining small for portability, having fast processing results, and remaining cost effective by being reusable in comparison to existing solutions that are single use.
In principle, our device would require a police officer to collect a saliva sample from an individual. They would then take that sample and place it into the device's sample carrier. This would in turn be placed into the device, and a spectra similar to the one shown on the screen would be produced. This spectra would then be analyzed in software using image processing techniques to determine whether or not there was in fact an intoxicant present. Each of the target intoxicants would have a unique barcode developed through careful calibration. This would result in a device which could interpret which specific compound was present in the saliva sample based on its emission characteristics.
87.3% of walker users occur a fall once every year. So what we aim to do here is prevent falling amongst walker users with the wearable bracelet here and a proximity sensor on the walker.
So basically how the system works is there's an ultrasonic sensor, two Arduino board microcontrollers on each, the wristband and the walker module, and then LEDs for as notification. As soon as the someone walks away from their walker, the red LED turns on and the vibration alerts them, and as soon as they return back to their walker, then they are they're within a safe range. So basically it costs $115 to make this project, and the total suggested retail price is about $249. And other than that, it's a cheap and effective method in notifying patients so they don't suffer from falling or injuries. And
classified as a mass casualty scenario. So when paramedics first arrive on scene, there's 2 paramedics to 20 casualties. Now, the paramedics immediately do triage to sort the casualties into various categories. So black would be deceased, red would be critical condition, yellow would be mild, so broken bones, and semi-conscious, and then green would be the walking wounded, where they might have a small injury, but for the most part they're fine. Now, the issue is that paramedics sometimes get this wrong. So someone who's perfectly fine, their situation can change. When they become unconscious, we need immediate care. So that is what we have. Yeah.
We have a vital monitoring device to help paramedics keep track of multiple casualties at once. It does this by monitoring body temperature, pulse rate, and blood oxygen, and reporting any critical fluctuations to the paramedics and alerting them of those changes so they can respond.
This is a non-invasive method of measuring. We're going to be taking all the measurements on the ear. So on the earlobe will be the heart rate and blood oxygen, and an infrared thermometer will be taking the temperature of the patient by their ear. This information will be sent to the microcontroller on the armband that the patient will wear. On this armband there will also be a battery, and the Bluetooth chip will send the signal to the data processing unit. This data processing unit will process all of the data before sending it to a display unit on the paramedic. On this display unit, it will also rank the casualties in order of severity. If the casualty situation changes, this casualty will go to the top of the list in order to signal the paramedic to take action. This is our device that we have infrared LED and also a photodiode in order to record the observance. This is the infrared thermometer, and this is the heart rate. On the screen right now, we have the display of the information, which has the BPM, blood ox, and body temperature. If they are out of the range necessary, an alert will show up on the screen and the LED will light up. As you can see, for the low body temperature, since my finger is no longer on it, it is room temperature, so this would send an alert to the paramedic in the later views.
Nowadays, as the internet develops, more and more people spend more time at home. People almost can do everything online. For example, they can work online, they can order something online and send it home and ship it home. Also, for the seniors, they will spend more time at home with their pets because they are retired. And for the teenager, they usually kill their time in the weekend, play the video games at home. So the internet quality is very important for us. Also, the air condition can affect people's feeling, so they can affect people's work efficiency. So first, they do some market research, some similar products. So here has 5 top sellers online. So you can see their price from 100 to 400. But for our product, it only cost $27. So compare with the product, our product is very cheap and simple. And we can have some function like monitor the humidity, the temperature, also the dust density. Also here on the LCD screen, we can give you feedback. So next part, customers will use it.
Annually, 98,000 Canadian kids are born with respiratory conditions, which require constant and reliable monitoring. The current competitors out there basically have infant monitoring system that only measures heart rate, body temperature, as well as blood oxygen saturation. However, the determining factors for respiratory health of the are blood oxygen saturation as well as respiration rate.
Jeff's infant respiratory health monitor consists of 4 parameters. It incorporates a triple-axis accelerometer, which will clip to the front of the infant's pajamas in the form of a small stuffed toy to measure chest displacement, which can be used to calculate respiratory rate. Meanwhile, a thermistor is used to measure temperature, and a pulse sensor as well as a pulse oximeter use infrared and red light absorption in the infant's toe to measure the pulse rate and blood oxygen saturation respectively. These 3 are housed inside a specialized sock available in a range of sizes.
But the sock and the toy are connected via wirelessly via Bluetooth technology to a microcontroller-based portable monitor. An LCD instantly displays the measurements and alerts the parents if any of them goes out of range. This combined information represents an effective approach for the growing home healthcare monitoring market.
So we present Gen Design and we're doing an infant respiratory health monitoring.
So this is our wearable biometric active track device. It's called the active track. The device has 4 main elements. Measures heart rate, acceleration, otherwise known as G-force, as well as GPS positioning and speed. So the active track is marketable towards mitigating the instance of unreported concussions. So actually, concussions go undetected. So using the active track, you can detect whether or not the athlete has sustained enough burn under load to, and therefore recommend medical attention based on this recommendation by our device.
So within the Atho track, there's an accelerometer, GPS module, a pulse sensor worn on the ear here. We These are all processed by a microcontroller and output into the Android app with Bluetooth. It will display longitude, latitude, speed, and heart rate, and if a concussion is detected. If the accelerometer detects a force above 35 Gs, a notification will be sent to the app to begin concussion protocol.
So we would ideally market it towards athletes who are in high impact sports and also who are interested in protecting their head and making sure that they don't get a concussion. Other future designs would be to decrease the size of the device by making an integrated circuit and potentially putting it into a headband or a shirt. But if we were to put it into a shirt, we would lose the G-force element and it would just be all about sports performance.
Approximately 26% of all fatal injuries and crashes are related to drowsy driving. In Ontario, drowsy driving is a large problem, and in 2006 alone, approximately 167,000 individuals were involved in one or more crashes related to drowsy driving. These opinions state that approximately 61% of these individuals are commercial truck drivers, and 56.6% are night or rotating shift drivers.
So that's why we made the Wakeboard, which is a simple wearable headband that any driver can wear. It has 2 electrodes on it, which pick up all your brain activity. That activity is very small on a microvolt scale, so we first send it to amplifier to make the signal a lot bigger and also take out a lot of noise. Once that happens, we can send it to Arduino, which processes it, and based on what footage it's receiving and the frequency, determines how awake you are. Feedback, so a green light, yellow light, red light, or a buzzer.
So the Wake Alert team has a solid marketing plan to sell the device. Our initial target market is insurance companies to sell to their truck driving clients as an incentive to receive premiums if they wear the device while on duty and are mainly in the awake phase. Our secondary target market is selling the device individually on our company website for persons who may suffer from sleep disorders or may often incur long-haul journeys and are concerned about their personal safety. And eventually we hope to broaden out to international markets. The current estimated cost of the device is 320 Canadian plus shipping and handling, and we hope for it to be produced and assembled here within Ontario, Canada. Our future prototypes will include Bluetooth transmission from the Arduino to a smartphone for third-party monitoring, wireless transmission of the signals, a sound card for a louder sound alert, and more electrodes for a more accurate signal. Thank you from the Wake Alert team.
So about 250 people in Ontario die from heat stroke alone every single year. And many times this is attributable to an athlete overexerting themselves and ignoring the early signs of heat stroke. So what we've designed here at Suntech is a system to detect the 3 physiological signs that are most closely related to heat stroke and early warning signs. So what we're tracking here is body temperature, sweat weight or electrodermal activity, and the heart rate. So what we've done is we have all the sensors wired up here on a sleeve, and
so we have the 2 electrochemical sensors here, and those measure sweat rate. They are just on the fingers, and we have the thermometer right in the armpit. So this is a very easy to wear device. They just pull it on as a sleeve, and then wear the 3 rings on their fingers. So there's a buzzer on the sleeve itself that notifies the person wearing it, and then the data is wirelessly transmitted to a monitor that they can open on their phone or their computer, so their coach can see what the conditions are and how they're doing if they're having heat stroke.
so what this graph tracks is the body temperature here, and as you can see, he's at about 98 or 99 degrees Fahrenheit here, and that is the physiological limit line, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So what this blue line is here is electrodermal activity. That's the sweat rate, and if it drops below this physiological limit here, which is around 50, then we know that he's at risk of elevated state.
Hi, I'm Sarah. And our product today is the Drive Away. There are approximately 1.3 million driving accidents that happen every year, and 25% of those accidents are directly related to driver drowsiness. Because of this, our team has set out to design a product that will early detect driver drowsiness and alert the driver prior to an accident. Our system uses the correlation between brain waves, eye movement, and
stage bioamplifier will be sampled, amplified, and filtered. Then will be sent to the microcontroller, where it's converted from analog to digital. The signal is then wirelessly sent
Like
to the
9/11
DSP The signal will then be processed, and once resonance is detected, it's going to communicate back to the microcontroller, which will then send a warning to the driver that is drowsy.
So our target market is truck drivers. There are approximately 3.7 million truck drivers in the North American market. We estimated that approximately 10% of this market could be reached in a 10-year time frame of the maturity phase of the company. Using these guideline parameters, we estimated that we get about 0.9, 2.1, and 3.4% of the market reached within first, second, and fifth years, respectively. The unit rise would be approximately $155 cost of
This industry has been growing over the past few years, with cycling being one of the more popular choices for exercise. The stationary bike industry itself is a multi-million-dollar one, expected to reach $546 million by 2018. Although it is a great low-impact exercise, there are still 72% of recreational cyclists who experience knee injuries. A lot of these injuries are due to improper knee alignment caused by incorrect bike fit. Our device aims to alert the user in real time when this problem occurs.
So, our device utilizes infrared sensors, also known as IR sensors. So, when the knee is in the normal position facing forward, neither LED is going off because her knee is in the correct position. But when her knee deviates to this side or this side, you can see the corresponding LED lights going off, indicating to the user that there is a problem that needs to be fixed. Okay.
So our target market includes individual cyclists and stationary bike manufacturers who provide bikes to major end users such as health clubs, hospitals, and home fitness gyms. The individual cyclists are an important initial target market as their interest will drive manufacturers to include this device in their cycles. Devices currently on the market are targeted towards outdoor cycles that are targeted intermediate to advanced cyclists. And whereas our device provides a competitive advantage because we target beginner to intermediate cyclists who provide an active approach to preventing pain and injury.
I'm Jeffrey Lava, my associate Silvado Teach, and Nelson Mendez. We'll talk to you today about the Clarion. Ever worried about your elderly mother or father? Whether or not they might be able to hear a fire alarm going off at night? Well, since you're minding her at ease, we here at Widener Technologies have the perfect design solution for you. The Clarion is an easy-to-use, all-encompassing system that protects the user from common health hazards such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and natural gas, in addition to detecting loud noises such as a fire alarm.
Hazardous detection is accomplished through use of 3 gas sensors and a microphone. By collecting system steady-state data information of various gas concentrations and noise levels, we are able to predict voltage levels of each sensor in potentially hazardous situations. Once a hazardous situation is detected, it's displayed on the LCD display, as well as the battery vibrator and the high-power LED being turned on. The use of these 2 biological stimuli allow the user to wake up in a timely manner and escape the dangerous situation.
Our target consumers are the deaf, the hard of hearing, partially deaf, and those who are such heavy sleepers that normal alarm systems can't wake them up. In the US and Canada alone, these people number around 30 million. Currently, there are only 2 major companies that deal with products similar to ours. However, each of these products only caters to one hazard. The Clarion covers all main household hazards and alerts the user with multiple hits to guarantee the safety of the user. We plan on selling our product online, some of our for $150. Our goal is to see the Clarion bring peace of mind, knowing that if the Clarion is there, the user is safe.
So the Canadian beer market makes up about 42% of total alcohol consumption, nearing an $8.8 billion in sales. Kegs and draft systems are commonly used in the hospitality industry as they can generate large profits for the organization. Unfortunately, these systems are difficult to monitor and to clean, so the company can lose up to $21,000 a year on potential revenue due to shrinkage.
So the keg square goal is to reduce this shrinkage and also to ensure that the quality of the keg beer is optimal. This is done through many different types of sensors. And when the sensor actually receives the data, there's a wireless aspect where through Bluetooth, the data is sent to a screen right beside the tap. So the bartender can actually see the real live data.
The expert utilizes 3 different sensors: a pH sensor, a temperature sensor, and a volume flow sensor. These sensors are integrated together to provide information to the user relating to the quality and quantity of beer within the keg. The warning system has been implemented in order to inform the user of potential beer spoilage. The expert, serve you a perfect drink every time.
Alright, so just here a little demonstration. It's not quite a full pint, but
So you'll be able to see the difference in volume within the keg and the volume that's been poured. You also see the change in temperature.
so now a warning signal has been implemented because the beer temperature is outside its optimal range, which should be between about 1 and 4 degrees Celsius.
And
as
for
well,
the pH.
for a little demonstration of the pH. So this should take it out of the warning range. So now the pH is in the desired range and the warning signal has disappeared.
Hey, hello everybody, we're from Fetchit. I'm Connor. I'm James.
I'm going to introduce the device. So dogs are used in a lot of different things, such as assisted therapy dogs, seeing eye dogs, and search and rescue dogs. And they also can get stressed in these situations. So we want to create a device that can notify the handler if the dog is too stressed to do a situation, as seen in our prototype.
So the technology used in this device is a ECG, you can see the electrodes here and here, a pulse sensor, which is a PPG, and an ambient temperature sensor. The PPG and ECG utilize high and low pass filters, accurate biometric data. Those are the technologies involved. James will now explain the marketing criteria of our device.
So how we market our device is basically we want to work with government organizations along with large non-government organizations like Red Cross and other who are working firsthand with the dogs. And we'd also like to work on passing our information, with patented information, to researchers of these dogs that are looking into their performance. So as you can see, I'm being used as the dog right now, and I'm wearing our ECG with electrodes on the left and right of the heart as well as down here. And if we go back to the screen, it's live sending a Bluetooth signal to this app. And our pulsometer, the pulse sensor is right here. And so when it takes my pulse and reads the temperature, those 2 factors will be displayed on the LCD, and they hold a threshold which will tell the handler via an LED and a buzzer whether the dog is being stressed.